Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play yet another no-name main game, except right now we're playing a game we previously could not have played because now it's been translated into English. So, okay, now there was a black bass translated into English. Well, okay, there is an American version. Oh, okay, this has mixed me up. Alright, let's just reset. Alright, so there already was a black bass released in the USA at least. Okay, no? Oh my gosh. These controls, alright, I'll talk about the controls in a second. So there already was a black bass released in the US, but that is actually Black Bass 2. So what happened to Black Bass 1, you might ask? Oh, now okay. What happened to Black Bass 1? Well, it was just never released in America. And so some intrepid ROM hacking translator came along and translated the Japanese first one into English. So now we can play the first Black Bass. Okay, word about the controls. So, okay, this name entry screen, pretty standard fare. You move around, you press A to select, and then you press B to finalize your choices. Now, usually that's an option reserved for start, but nope, here the developers just saw fit to make it B. And how do you choose between start and continue? Well, you press A. That's an A button, that's not a D-pad. And how do you select it? Oh no, you don't press start to start. That's first level stuff. You gotta think next level. You gotta go to a whole nother level. You gotta press B. You gotta press B to start. That being said, okay, what season should we start? Well, let's start spring. And I might add that this is probably the first instance of English translated text. I haven't actually booted up the Japanese ROM, but I can only imagine that this ROM hacker just poured his heart and soul into translating all of this into English. So, ooh, okay. Oh, okay, we don't get to actually choose any of this stuff, it's just telling us. Alright, and off for some bass fishing. Oh, cool. So, time is just ticking by. I hear the premise of this game is to just collect, as many bass as you can find. And then choose your spot. Sure. Pressing B to select, of course. Lures. Oh my gosh. Flashbacks to, Legend of the River King. Let me guess. You have to press B to cast it out. Yeah, sure. Well, this is kind of enterprising. So let's see, we press B to wiggle the lure, I think? No, A to press the wiggle lure? Okay, yeah, you hold A, and then I guess there's no real way to make it go any lower. Oh, maybe if you press up on the D-pad. Oh no, that reels it in. Well, anyway. Well, okay, so I know that this is actually the translation of the first one, not actually the sequel, and how do I know that? Because there's another intrepid soul active on romhacking.net translations, the guy who writes all the summaries for the games. That guy is a real hero. Now, of course, maybe it's like Hardcore Gaming 101, and there's not, in fact, a singular guy who does it all. Maybe, in fact, there's a whole team of guys, or maybe it's sort of crowdsourced, or whatever it is. Anyway, those people are heroes, too. Not quite as much as the translators, because I don't know much about ROM hacking, but I'm pretty sure it's a very annoying process. Like, translating from Japanese to English already is an enormous, annoying, time-expensive process. And then to go into the game and actually program it all in so it all works out, that's kind of ridiculous. And then to play through a few times, make sure, do some bug testing, make sure it all works perfect, that's crazy. Oh. Does that mean someone else is invading our pristine Earth, or is that just some sort of weird graphical glitch? Yeah, I think that's actually my character. That's right, this is my secret lake. No one else allowed. Okay, this spot is a total bust. I guess this guy has commitment issues, which is to say, once he commits to a spot, he does not move. Oh, okay, so if you do nothing, then the lure falls? Is that how I'm supposed to interpret this? No, I think I just accidentally pressed up on the D-pad and the lure sort of moved. Well, I mean, this kind of reminds me of playing Legend of the River King, though, when I was a kid. Because, my gosh, as a kid, I mean, I didn't really understand fishing. I mean, I had gone a few times with my grandpa or something, but, I mean, he didn't talk about the finer points of it. We just kind of casted rods out, and Waited a while, and maybe something happened, maybe it didn't. It didn't really matter. It was more just about hanging out, spending time together. Although, maybe that's actually the real point of fishing, is not to actually catch anything. Making this game about a competitive bass fishing fisherama that spans a day, all the more baffling, because it's like, I don't have any virtual beer friends to hang out with in this game. But, oh well. Oh my gosh. One time, we went to this, like, fish farm, and, like, they'll let you fish. And so, it's a whole bunch of little ponds, and they are stacked to the gills with fish. So you pretty much just put your rod in there. You don't even have to, like, try. And then just 1,000 fish just kind of jump in line to just catch everything. It's ridiculous. It's almost like, oh, okay. So the game knows that I'm not having fun, so let's try another point. Alright, this seems good. And let's ooh, this lure looks the prettiest. And B to cast off. I will never get used to that. And hopefully I don't, because if I did, that would kind of ruin me for all other games. Oh, neat. So it does like kind of a little wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh, and we've offended the fish. The fish is like, this is just not our thing. I can't do this. I'm a fish, not a sellout. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Sometimes it's all about making your own fun. But, nope, slow times. But again, I hear fishing is a very slow activity, so it's like, well, maybe this isn't a surprise. Maybe we can switch lures after this and see if we have any more luck with that. Now, that kind of weird thing where, like, the fisherman shows up, I wonder if that's actually part of the original game or not. Now, NES games were not exactly pure bastions of quality, let us say. And we'll go back to the starting lure, see what happens. Well, I do kind of like that you can play this game with, like, one hand. You just use 2 of your fingers to make a claw to hold the controller, and you just use your thumb to press A. And you can wiggle your lure to your heart's content. I mean, it's not like NES games were exactly bastions of quality, so it wouldn't surprise me if that was part of the game. But I always kind of wonder, so I mean, like, they're translating this stuff. They have to actually change the ROM, the code, the assembly code in the ROM. That's right, they're not even programming in, like, some sort of IDE or anything to make it any bit more manageable. They're literally going in and changing a bunch of hex values. And that has always struck me as, like, especially crazy. I mean, I don't know what kind of person does that, but whoever they are, I wish a lot of them would do it more, because I love these translations. A lot of my favorite RPGs, they've been, like, translated. Like Live Alive, whoever did that, I think it was Aeon Genesis. That guy is the real MVP, just translating these huge RPGs that would never get localized. They just didn't come out at the right time to be localized. And now, thanks to the magic of a team of people's hard work, let's say, then you can play too. Alright, let's try a different lure. This one sort of looks like a squid. Maybe we'll trick the fish. Or maybe we just scared all the fish away. Oh, that's kind of neat. Oh, maybe it makes like a little whistling sound as it goes or something. Well, that actually doesn't make sense. How do you whistle underwater? Anyway, I think because we can't see the fish anymore, that means we are now out of luck. And no fish will bite ever. Which is unfortunate, but, well, you never know. It's just a really peaceful soundtrack going on. I mean, yeah, it's like 4 notes, 2 of which are the same, I think. But it really puts you in that nice, relaxed out mood. It's like, okay, I'm sitting on a lake, casting out some fishing lines, and maybe I'll catch some fish, maybe I don't. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I just get to sit in a boat and contemplate the wonders of life. Got some sun shining above, got cold blue water reflecting from below. Contentment. Contentment. Of course, now we'll give up on contentment and try to pick another point. Can you only... No, yeah, alright. Let's go in this little alcove. I hear fish like corners because that creates turbulence, which makes them feel safe. Also, I hear fish like long, skinny things. That's probably not true, but... Your lure is stuck. Oh no, okay. There we go. A more reasonable distance. Oh, okay. So this one seems to actually sink, which is nice. I can see the fish right there. Now, that is one advantage video games have over real-life fishing. Real-life fishing, you have no idea what's going on below the surface. It's all sort of like a mystery. It's sort of a blue box, if you will. But in video games, you can see exactly what's happening, and you can amp up the drama as you see a fish kind of eye your lure and just be like, nope, don't want me any of that. Just like that fish did. This is a very picky fish. Actually, yeah, I remember playing Legend of the River King as a kid, and I gotta be honest, some of these fishing games are pretty hard. Now, I do think that's because Japan is a nation of fishermen, more or less. Like, it's completely a waterlocked country. They know their way about fishing. It's sort of like in their lifeblood. And so I kind of assume that kids just are born knowing how to fish, and like it all comes sort of intuitively to them. Whereas me, let's say I grew up in a landlocked state, and so fishing is very much not in my blood. I've done it once, and that was on vacation to a state that actually has water. So, to play this, and just, I don't know what I'm doing, really. Like, these different lures, it's like, are you supposed to know? Are you supposed to know? It's like, oh, that one looks like a fly. It's best for catching this type of bass. Oh, that one looks like a little minnow. It's best for catching this type of bass. It's like, I mean, I kind of know the words, like flies, minnows, lures, whatever, but I can't tell which one's supposed to be a fly, which one's supposed to be a lure, or a minnow, or anything. And I mean, you play Legend of the River King, and at least that one will tell you what they're called, but it certainly won't help you in any way. And the thing I hate the most about fishing games is, like, they don't actually tell you how to fish. And what I mean by that is, like, okay, let's say by some miraculous chance you actually throw out your lure and you actually catch a fish. Like, you actually get it on your line. Then what? Now, your first instinct might be to reel it in. Reel it in like there's no tomorrow. Because, I mean, you've got the fish on the rocks. You gotta pull it in, right? No, wrong. Because what happens is, apparently the tension gets too high in your rod, or your line, and then the whole thing just snaps. And then it's bye-bye fishy. And you're just left looking like a fool. It's like, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? So apparently what you're supposed to do, or at least what worked best in Legend of the River King, is you let the fish have his fun for a little bit. You let him grab the lure and just kind of run away. And then when he gets tired, that's when you can reel him in. And so eventually fishing becomes some sort of endurance test, where it's like you versus that fish, versus your fishing rod too, I guess. And it's like, who's gonna win? Who's gonna give out first? And when you put it that way, fishing actually sounds almost kind of romantic. Now, it's kind of disappointing that most fishing in the world is done by, like, these great big trawl boats that just kind of pull up giant loads of fish all at a time and just slop them on deck. There's a bunch of wiggling fish everywhere. Alright, let's pick a different point. I think this spot is overfished, mostly by me. Oh geez, it's already 12. In game time, not in real time. In real time, of course, it's 7:45 p.m. That's obviously not true. Oh, the lure has broken. Oh, wow. So I actually broke the lure to such an extent that I can't use it. Now, it gives you 3 of each lure, and I cannot possibly imagine breaking every single one of these lures. But, nope, I can't even see fish. And it's so weird how, like, it seems like every Japanese game includes fishing. Like, there's fishing in Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Like, why would there be fishing in that? There's fishing in Breath of Fire. That's like, okay. But in Breath of Fire 3, there's such a detailed fishing minigame. Like, it's essentially its own game. And it's like, oh my god, why? Who does this? But I think it's just because it's a nostalgic pastime in Japan. Like, everybody just has everybody just has childhood memories of going fishing. Just like I'm sure everybody has childhood memories of walking out in the backyard and walking to a forest or something. So, fair enough, fair enough. Is it me, or do the little black things patterned in the dirt sort of look like a guy with a really big nose and 2 little beady eyes? Well, I wish there was an option for end. Let's see. Can you press start? No, start button doesn't work. Why would you want to press start? All right, so I think my fishing expedition has come to a close. Now I gotta give a warm shout out to romhacking.net for providing this translation patch, like hosting it, giving a place for like all these intrepid translators to kind of congregate around and centralize. I gotta give a shout out to the translators who went out and translated this into English. And I got a big shout out to whoever made this game in the first place, because if it weren't for the video game makers, we wouldn't be playing any video games at all. But with all those thanks in the way, on that note, this cat's got a scat.